welcome to my channel. My name is Venus, and today I'm talking about all of the books that I want to try to finish before the end of the year. This is a very ambitious list. There are all different genres on this list, so get cozy and let's talk about the books I plan to read for the end of the year. First up, I do want to try to squeeze in one more nonfiction because I've really failed at that goal for myself this year, but this one is Outlive: The Science and Art of Longevity by Dr. Peter Attia. This is just this doctor's opinions on how to live a longer and healthier life, and I'm very interested in that right now, trying to get healthier, especially going, of course, as most people, going into a new year. And this book is blurbed by many people. Let's see, one of which is Hugh Jackman, who played Wolverine. He says, Dr. Peter Attia is someone I trust with my life. What separates him from others is his pursuit of quality of life from all angles: physical, emotional, mental, relational, and spiritual health. This incredible book is a call to action. It will arm you with the tools you need to live a long, meaningful, and fulfilling life. It's also blurbed by Dr. Andrew Huberman, who is a neurologist at Stanford University. I watch a lot of his videos and his podcast, listen to his podcast, and his blurb says, finally, there is a modern, thorough, clear, and actionable manual for how to maximize our immediate and long-term health. Firmly grounded in data and real-life conditions, this is the most accurate and comprehensive health guide published to date. Outlive is not just informative, it is important. So I'm very interested to listen to his opinions. I have the audiobook on this, so I'll be kind of listening to this throughout the month, and this will be my last nonfiction book for 2023. So of course I'm going to be reading a bunch of Christmas romances. I'm actually in the middle of a Christmas romance reading vlog right now. I'm probably going to read most of them between now and the end of November, so not really going to mention any of them for my December TBR. But I did want to just acknowledge that, yes, I am reading Christmas romances as well. A book that I started in November that I have a feeling will kind of roll over to December is Red Country by Joe Abercrombie. This is a grimdark fantasy book, part of his First Law world, and I'm loving it so far. I'm about 50 pages in, and I spoiled it for myself and looked at one of the characters' names and who they were in previous books, and I think it was supposed to be a surprise, but so don't do that if you read this book. I don't know how long it's going to be before his identity is revealed, but I am very excited because I loved his character in previous books from this world. In this book, we are following Shy, and she is taking care of her brother and sister. They own a farm, and we start out with her being in kind of like the city marketplace, exchanging goods that she creates on her farm for money. And on her way home with her stepfather, Liam, she discovers that her home has been burned down and someone has kidnapped her brother and sister. There's a lot of insinuations that Shy has a very dark past that may be coming back to haunt her. It's really good so far. I love Joe Abercrombie's writing. I've already laughed a couple times from some of these characters, and it jumps right into action as well. So I can't wait to finish reading this and then finally get into the Age of Madness series in 2024. I mentioned in my end of the year book tag video that there were 3 books that I really wanted to prioritize in the month of December, and one of them was The Will of Many by James Islington, and I have a feeling this actually might get pushed to 2024 because I didn't realize how dense this book is. The font is very tiny and it's 600 pages. So I don't know if I want to jump into this as one of my last books for the end of the year because I feel like it's going to take a lot of my concentration. So I may be pushing this to 2024, but for now, it is a possibility. This is fantasy. I don't know much about it. All I've heard is that it's Roman inspired and it's very well written and there's a lot of political intrigue in it. So I am very interested to read it, but it may get pushed to 2024. If you've read it, do you think I should prioritize this, or am I doing the right thing and holding it off until next year? Let me know. In that video, I also mentioned that I wanted to complete the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I am going to read Return of the King and then rewatch all of the movies and kind of compare the two and see what changes were made. I'm very excited to finally finish this trilogy and see if it ends up being an all-time favorite. As of right now, it's not. I have really enjoyed the first two books, but they definitely haven't been favorites yet. So we'll see if this one makes that list. And then the third book that I had mentioned in that video is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, author of Dead Romantics, which I absolutely adored and gave 5 stars to last year. Cannot wait to see if this is another 5-star read by this author. All I know is there's time travel, I think, in this. So I'm really interested to see how the time travel plays out in this story and how it will end. So I can't wait to read this one. This is actually the only romance book on this list, of course, except for all of the Christmas romances that I'm reading. It's been a while since I've read some science fiction, so I wanted to end the year with Recursion by Blake Crouch. I absolutely love this author, and I cannot wait to read this book. His books that I've read so far are very fast-paced, and I know I'm going to need kind of that rhythm at some point in the month of December and all of the holiday madness. So I'm very excited to read this one. I don't know anything about it, so let's see. Memory makes reality. That's what New York City cop Barry Sutton is learning as he investigates the devastating phenomena the media has dubbed false memory syndrome, a mysterious affliction that drives its victims mad with memories of a life they never lived. That's what neuroscientist Helena Smith believes. It's why she dedicated her life to creating a technology that will let us preserve our most precious memories. If she succeeds, anyone will be able to re-experience a first kiss, the birth of a child, the final moment with a dying parent. As Barry searches for the truth, he comes face to face with an opponent more terrifying than any disease, a force that attacks not just our minds, but the very fabric of the past. And as its effects begin to unmake the world as we know it, only he and Helena working together will stand a chance at defeating it. But how can they make a stand when reality itself is shifting and crumbling all around them? Can't wait to jump into this one. And for my final Stephen King pick of 2023, I am going to read 2 short stories in the book Different Seasons. And of course, they're going to be the most popular ones based on movies that I've seen. And one of them is The Body. Sorry, I'm just trying to find it in here. Yep, one of them is The Body, and the other one is Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. So, of course, those are based on Stand By Me, The Body, and Shawshank Redemption, which is the Rita Hayworth short story in here. So I cannot wait to read these and compare the 2 movies. Also, both of those movies probably would definitely make my all-time favorite movies, and I definitely want to see the source material behind them. So I can't wait to read the short stories for these. So when I was creating my 2023 TBR and goals, I said Brandon Sanderson was going to be, or 2023 was going to be the year of Brandon Sanderson. I have not read one single Brandon Sanderson book this year. So I'm going to continue that goal into 2024. I do plan on reading more of Brandon Sanderson in 2024, but I do want to end this year with at least having read one of his books, and that's going to be Tress of the Emerald Sea. I've heard nothing but wonderful things about this. I know that it looks like it's very long, but the font is actually pretty big and the line spacing is big. And there's pictures in this. So I think this is probably going to read pretty quickly. I also have the audiobook for it as well. I just know that it's very whimsical, fairy tale-ish, and just a great read. Wonderful reviews for this. So I cannot wait to finally get to this book. And I definitely wanted to make sure I had another horror book in here along with Stephen King, and that is going to be Krampus by Bram. I've not read any of his books. I have this book on hold at the library. Should be getting it any day now. And I'm very excited to read this, and I will also be watching the movie. I have no idea. Are they based off of each other? Is the movie based off of the book, or is it just a random slasher? I don't know, but I'm going to watch that movie as well. And I don't know anything about Krampus, so let's see what Goodreads says. It says, Santa Claus, my dear old friend, you are a thief, a traitor, a slanderer, a murderer, a liar, but worst of all, you are a mockery of everything for which I stood. You have sung your last ho, 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 for I am coming for your head. I am coming to take back what is mine, to take back Yuletide. So that's a quote from the book, I'm assuming, and that's all I know. So I'm very excited to read that. I would love to hear your thoughts. Have you read Krampus? I feel like I'm one of the only people that haven't read it. So please comment down below. Let me know what you thought of that book if you've read it. And finally, my last book I'm hoping to read before the end of the year is Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands by Heather Fawcett. This is the second book in the Emily Wilde series. I absolutely loved the first book in this series. It's probably going to make my favorite books of the year. I have an arc for the second book. It comes out January 16th, so I'm definitely hoping to get to this before the end of the year. If you don't know, the first book, Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, is about Emily, who's a very fun character. I actually really like her character. She's very socially awkward. She doesn't really like being around people. She just likes to do her research about fairies. She traveled to a very small snowy town to research some kind of rare fairies to add to her encyclopedia. And her coworker, Wendell Bamblebee, ends up coming on her little trip as well, driving her crazy, but adventures ensue, and it is such a fun, fantastical book. I did not think that I was going to like it, but I feel like it's a perfect read for the winter because it's set in the snow. It's got fairies. Some of them aren't so nice, as fairies tend to be, and it was just a really great read. So I can't wait to see where this story goes. I'm very excited to read this. This is one of my most anticipated sequels of 2024, and I'm very thankful to NetGalley and the publisher for granting me the ARC copy. So there is my ambitious end of the year TBR. Let me know in the comments below, are you taking it a little slower the last month of the year? Or are you also trying to cram in as much as you possibly can? As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you again soon.